Alright, so now I'm going to be countering the opposition against our claim that the U.S. should abolish the death penalty. First, I'd like to give you one more example. Stephen McCoy, lethal injection. The drugs that Stephen McCoy was given for his lethal injection process gave him heavy chest breathing, gasping, choking, back arching off the gurney. Obviously, he didn't feel it, that these drugs numbed him before all of this. And this is just one instance, but I mean, it's still a possibility. We can't negate the fact that it's still a possibility that these drugs aren't going to work. And they made a point that there are going to be proposals for drugs with less margin of errors. Well, I didn't hear any kind of proposals for this. They didn't mention anything for that except Prop 66, which has already been in place. So these aren't proposals that are going to be enacted soon. That's not what they were talking about, so these points were not brought up. Also, they made a point about the shorter sentence being able to be given for these prisoners or all the people on death row. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to give them a shorter sentence. We still want them to be life in prison. We're not trying to give them a shorter sentence. Also, for the scientific advancements that they made with the 2017 DNA study, 95% chance of clearing someone who wasn't at the crime, and 99.9% in some cases. Great, we know who the person is. We actually knew that because they were already on death row. They are already guilty of that. That's not what is making us pay all this money to keep them on death row. That's all the appeals that they're trying to go for over the 15 plus years that they're averaging on death row. The U.S. benefits is that a life term is equal to less of the cost of having the death penalty. I don't, they argue that having life to death sentence, them having the death sentence is equal to less time than not having the death penalty. And again, statisticians over here, yeah, 88 criminologists were surveyed, and 78% of them has said that the death penalty in states does not lower the murder rate. In addition, 91% of respondents say politicians support the death penalty in order to appear tough on crime. 75% of them say it distracts legislators over state and national level from focusing on real problems to crime problems. And overall, 94% of these statisticians agree that there's little empirical evidence to support the deterrent of the death penalty, and 90% said the death penalty has little or no effect. And also with them saying that that the homicide rates and the death penalty are coincided. That's not, because, well, that's actually true. They are coincided in the fact that states that don't have the death penalty don't have as high homicide rates as the states that do. As I said earlier when I started the debate off, 48% to 101% higher crime rates than states with the death penalty. And also, I'd like to point out one last thing that Ben said. He said, just kill them. That's not humane. It's not humane. I feel that that is inhumane and unjust, and you cannot just kill these people.